getting back to this article by Mr. Sean, he said, and I also love this part, is it the atheists who live short, selfish, stunted little lives, often childless, before they approach hopeless death and despair, and their worthless corpses are chucked in a trench? Or if they are wrong, they go to hell? Or is it the believers who live longer, happier, healthy, more generous lives, and who have more kids, and who go to their quietus with ritual dignity, expecting to be greeted by a smiling and benevolent God? Obviously, it's the believers who are smarter. Anyone who thinks otherwise is mentally ill.
Well, he seems mentally balanced.
He seems like a lovely, unbiased person.
Yeah, he seems totally mentally balanced. And
what
yeah,
a 100% lovely Christian person.
Yeah, and he sounds happy and fulfilled and totally not hateful or bitter or resentful at all.
No, of course not. 63 scientific studies over the years found that religious people are less intelligent, and the study by Miran Zuckerman of the University of Rochester found that, quote, there is a reliable negative relation between intelligence and religiosity. 53 out of the 63 studies review, in 53 out of 63 of the studies review, this is the case even when intelligent people who are non-believers grew old. While previous studies suggest that smart people just think they know better and that's why they don't believe in a higher being, this study suggests other reasons. Smart people are more likely to be married and successful in life, meaning they don't turn to religion as often. And of course, married, probably having kids too. Not only that, but one study reviewed followed children with high IQs until they grew old. When they were between 75 and 91, they were less religious than the general population. Another thing, it said, quote, intelligent people typically spend more time in school, a form of self-regulation that may yield long-term benefits. People possessing the functions that religion provides are likely to adopt atheism. People lacking these very functions, e.g. the poor, the helpless, are likely to adopt theism. So it has something to do with your quality of life. Not how smart you are, but the kind of life you have.
And the kind of education and the kind of
right.
lifestyle that you're exposed to. And of course, you know, that's another reason for religious types like Republicans, for example, to keep education down and keep people poor, because then more and more people will be religious.
And I grew up poor. And I'll tell you what, you know, I've been an atheist for a very, very long time. Ever since I was, you know, probably about 10, 12 years old when I started questioning what was in it. Like, what am I learning here? I'm not learning anything. This sounds ridiculous. And so it doesn't mean, you know, being poor doesn't necessarily predispose you to religion, but it can be a factor.
Of course. And
that's one flaw of the study, is that it doesn't take in socioeconomic factors like that. But he says, back to Sean, he says, the evidence today implies that atheism is a form of mental illness. And this is because science is showing, once again, he's going back to science to try to prove his point, ridiculous, that the human mind is hardwired for faith. We have, as a species, evolved to believe, which is one crucial reason why believers are happier. No, we are not hardwired to believe. That is utter bunk. Do you know why we started believing in deities? Because we had no knowledge of what what happened with thunderstorms, or what the sun was,
or where the sun went when it went over the horizon.
You know, we had the Aztecs would kill people to make sure would sacrifice people every day to make sure the sun would rise.
Yes, absolutely. That's very good. I remember.
Know any better? Do we have to sacrifice people to make the sun rise? No, because the sun rises every single day. Every single day. And you know why? Because it's science. The earth revolves around the sun. I know. Fundamentalists.
Yeah, you can't make sense of it. Don't try to rationalize it, because, you know, if they were rational, they wouldn't be religious. I mean, if they were rational, they wouldn't be trying to justify their religiosity with science, the very science that proves things like climate change and evolution, which the religious people always try to say is just lies.
You can't debunk religion with science, because Religion relies strictly on faith. It is based 100% on the faith. So you can't use things in science and nature to try and reinforce that, because when it comes down to it, to be religious, you have to believe. And he ends the article by saying, therefore, being an atheist, lacking the vital faculty of faith, should be seen as an affliction and a tragic deficiency, something akin to blindness.
Uh-huh.
This guy is an utter moron.
Yeah. He's insane. He does not have a properly functioning brain.
And, you know, and like I said, there are good religious people out there, and I don't want to cast them all in a bad light, and I don't necessarily want to say that they're less intelligent, but there are studies that do back it up and saying that in many cases, people who are not religious do have higher IQs because they haven't stopped asking questions and they haven't stopped trying to learn.
Well, I know.
The more you try to learn, the smarter you're going to get.
I know
if
that.
you stop learning, you're going to stay stagnant and you're not going to be a smarter person.
Absolutely.
It's all about asking the right questions. It's all about asking questions at all and not assuming that you know all the answers.
Right. I know that you don't want to throw all religious people under the bus, because there are some religious people that have decent hearts and are decent people and try to do
It's not the fact that they believe in God that makes them that makes them less intelligent. It's not that fact.
Well, if they believe,
they stop asking questions because their faith dictates it.
Well, if they ask questions, then they wouldn't believe in the Christian God. They wouldn't believe in any notion of God that man has invented thus far.
Because they would see the contradictions once they look into it.
Absolutely. I've met some very intelligent people who are kind of spiritually agnostic and have a notion of God that's like, you know, the energy of the universe and whatnot. But I would consider them not in the same category as religious. They're not religious people. They don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in doctrine. And there may be there are nice people who believe in that sort of thing, but being nice and being intelligent are two different things. And
being happy and being intelligent are two different things too.
Yeah, and if you are intelligent and you are using critical thinking and you are using rationality and you are using logic, then you're not going to believe in that crap. You're not going to believe in the Bible and the doctrine and the rules and
dragons and yes, literally dragons. It's in Revelation.
Yeah, and the coming of the second coming of Christ,
women being made from men's ribs and
the virgin birth and all that sort
and
of
all this nonsense that was really kind of ripped from other religions. The story of the virgin birth and Jesus. Look up Horus.
Yeah.
Look up Horus. It's almost identical.
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, just watch Bill Maher's sort of documentary, more of a mockumentary called Religulous. He lays it out very well. You cannot follow logic and reason and believe in this sort of thing. You just can't. It's just the fact of the matter is you might be a perfectly nice person, but you're not as intelligent as someone who can read the Bible, read these things, listen to these things, and go, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
And I just want to end this segment on this. For anybody who's religious that's watching, I'm not trying to demonize you. I'm not trying to say that you're a bad person. I'm not trying to call you dumb. What I do want to say is that question everything. Don't accept things on blind faith. It may be uncomfortable to come out of your shell, and it may be uncomfortable to ask those uncomfortable questions. But you must never stop trying to pursue knowledge. Because if you stop learning, you are going to become stagnant. Stagnation is death. It is worse than death. So please, ask questions. Never stop learning.